My lords, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to episode number 12 of the Transport Fever 2 series on our small map. Starting out on a little cab ride today. I've had a little bit of housekeeping to do between episode number 11 and this one. I'll go through that in a few moments. And what I've also done in between episodes is a bit of scenery work, and we should see that in a few seconds time as we approach Axbridge. I've gone ahead and just added a few assets. I've enabled some asset mods, so I've used some of those assets to detail the scenery around the freight exchange that we have here in Axbridge. And given that we're about to come alongside, or at least pass through rather, we should get a good look at this now, and we can see all the additional buildings. Excuse the camera work there, I just wanted to let us have a proper look as we go on past. So rather than just having a truck station in the middle of nowhere, I've just tried to make it look a little bit more developed. Some things don't quite fit, such as not that building there, but what the heck, it just makes it feel a little bit more alive. So while I was doing that, I had the game running with the date paused, and we've accumulated quite a little war chest. I was doing it for about an hour, so I got a little bit carried away, and I wasn't keeping an eye on our finances. And when I looked down, yeah, well, we'll see in a few moments as we hop off this train. Now, we may see this train now has its own dedicated name. This was requested by a viewer, and I've gone ahead and honoured that request, and I've tried to pick a train that makes us decent money. And as we can see, this train is a nice profitable train for us. Given that it's it's now a special train, I'm going to go ahead and jack up the maintenance for this train to very high. Now that might wipe out any costs, any profit that it makes, but I'd rather have a nice shiny looking train, especially one that's been dedicated to a viewer, rather than something that's seen a bit of wear and tear as this one currently has. Obviously over time this will get a new paint job and it will look brand spanking new. So there you go, my little musical. There's a train just for you. There is one other train that has had a name change, and if we can find it, and this train has also had a little upgrade as well. Where is it? It should be, is this it? Yes, here we go, the MGL, and we'll hop on board. And if we turn ourselves around, we can see it's now being double headed as I discussed, and the consist length has been doubled as well. We now carry 192 units of grain, and that does seem to be enough to prevent the food production plant from running out of grain in between deliveries, which is doing wonders for our food delivery train as well. Likewise with the My Little Musical, we are going to increase the maintenance on this one. And again, that's just to make sure it stays shiny and well loved and well looked after. And here we go, we're just approaching our drop off point, and you may have noticed there's an extra line. What I've done is I've put a little pass line here, and the setup now sees the food train come down this new pickup line, whilst the grain train goes straight on through on the default line. This is all for future proofing, because eventually we're probably going to have 2 trains, or maybe even 3, and by doing this we can have one on the platform and one waiting here, and it will guarantee our grain train can still get in to drop off the grain. So that's just made us a small fortune there. As it stands right now, it's 6.6 million, and if we just zoom in, well, you can see here how long I was doing this in the background. That must be about 15 years worth. So it does make profit. Makes us a pretty decent profit. Actually, it's over a couple of million, which is what we want to see. The last bit of housekeeping I did, Benjamin Corey gave a great suggestion, and this was a few episodes ago, and I've only just got around to doing it, so I apologise for that. But the line number 1, I think we originally called it. We had the commerce line, we had the industrial line, and then I was stuck for a name for the 3rd line in Long Eaton, so I went with line 1. That's now been changed to the business line. It does run from the commercial sector to the industrial sector, so it is quite a fitting name, and I thank you very much for that, Benjamin. A really good suggestion. If anyone else has any suggestions, whether it be train names, line names, even building names if you want to, for example, this here, what is meant to be a complex, similar to the one we have up in Axbridge, we could rename the station and the truck station and give them a dedication there, because let's be honest, they are quite formidable and they do form a big part of the town of Axbridge, especially with all this extra asset work and detailing that's being done. So if you think of any names for this, please go ahead, let me know. Anyway, on with proceedings. As I said, a nice small war chest of just 66 million to play with to finish off what we started previously, which was this new run of infrastructure up here to Epping South. Now the plan, of course, is to start delivering the fuel and possibly even the tools up to Epping South, and hopefully we'll get both of those done in this episode. To start with, however, we need to bring all this online. At the minute it's just sat there doing, well, not a lot really. So the first thing we're going to need is a road access point. And that will just simply connect into our existing infrastructure. We also want a truck station. Now, how many will we need here? How many platforms will we need? Well, we'd need one for the bricks because we could run that in via some trucks. Likewise, we could arguably bring in the goods via a truck delivery line. So we only need one for the fuel. For the tools, we'll need one for the machines and for the food. So we need 4 platforms. So if we do something like this, have a 4 platform station, and we'll set it parallel with the road, somewhere like there. And once we connect that in, that should be close enough to give us that working connection that we're looking for. And indeed it is. We will put a second access road down here at some point, but just to get the ball rolling, that's going to do what we need it to do. Especially once we set up the delivery line into Epping. I'm going to start with the fuel. Now here's all the fuel demanding industries, and they're reasonably well clustered. So what I'm planning then, because we have to bear in mind that this industrial sector, it will expand, especially once we start meeting the initial city demands, is I'm going to upgrade that road there. In fact, while we're here, we may as well... you've done it for me. I was going to build a through road down here, and we're going to have the drop-off point somewhere around here, with a view that the industrial sector will expand this way, and the station here, or the drop-off point here, should encompass any growth this way. But thankfully the AI have saved me some money and built this road for me. So if we put our drop-off point right on the end, just there, we probably need some waypoints, and as you can see we have more waypoint selection available, so we're not using the default chevrons the entire time. We can now mix it up just a little. So what shall we go for? Well, let's go for a level crossing waypoint there. The idea being our trucks will come this way, and they should automatically head down this way and out of town. But what we could do is connect that road in to there, upgrade that little stretch there, and have them return down here. Let's just upgrade these roads here that they're building. The more high speed, high capacity roads we have in the early days, the better it's going to be in the long run. It's going to help with the traffic without having to demolish too much of the town as it becomes more and more developed. Let's just get that nice and straight if we can, just to finish it off for them. There we go. So yes, if our trucks come up this way, or they could come this way if they wanted to, via that waypoint, drop off, and then we want them to head down here and out of town. So to achieve that, let's put another crossing waypoint there, and that should be enough to steer the trucks where we want them to go. Let's just check that. So if we do a line from here, we're going to be running fuel, so we'll select a nice fuel colour, and we just make sure that they only pick up the fuel, because over time there will be more goods being dropped off, of course. So if you come this way, so yeah, you've opted to go straight up, but which is fine. Either way, it makes no difference really. They do have to cross over here, but unless we have hundreds of trucks, I can't see them ever tripping over themselves. So I think we can live with that. Likewise, we can live with this loop here. Eventually, as I said, we will extend it with a second access point, and then we can steer them around so there's no looping around in the terminal. But for now, it's going to serve us quite well. And let's just quickly name this to the Epping fuel run. No, fuel delivery. And there we go. Let's rename this to the Epping Freight Yard. Likewise, we'll give that the same name. There we go, the Epping Freight Yard. That's ready. We need a depot, of course. And can we nestle one in here? We could, but we might want extra access points here, so let's do ourselves a favour and drop that there instead. Let's pick ourselves a couple of vehicles. I think it's got to be the tarpaulin trucks, and we'll start with 3, colour them orange, and set them on their way. Now they are going to run empty for a short while we get the train line set up and the train activated, but that's not a problem. We already have a diamond here, but we don't have any signals along here at all, so we need to do some signal work. So what I'll do, I'll put a little cut in at this point. I'll go through this line, drop in some blocking signals, not too many, and then we'll pick it back up once we reach the fuel depot. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I've put in a diamond on the near side of the fuel depot here, so our train can get onto this platform, which is a platform we're aiming to assign to it. Over this side, I have a crossover just here, so our train can get back onto the left. And obviously when they're coming in to collect the fuel, they're already on the same track as a platform, so we don't need a diamond, at least not yet. For now, we have what we need, and as we can see, I've got a couple of blocks throughout the entire run. Not too many, but enough that we could have several trains running down here should we want to. But for now, we need to set up the line itself. So we're running from the Long Eaton Fuel Refinery. Now we're gonna have to have a think about this, because ideally we want to load a full load. However, given the nature of this line that we have set up, I don't think it'll generate a full load, because the trains that pick up the drop into Long Eaton, they're also responsible for collecting the refined oil, if you remember, and then they come in here, they head down here, and then they head back. So what we might have to start looking into is the possibility of having a separate train line handling the run of refined oil into the fuel refinery. What we'll do for now is we'll just start it running with the default load orders, but we will make sure we are only picking up fuel. Heaven forbid they pick up some of the refined oil accidentally, as these are trying to drop it off. And we'll see how we do, but I do think we're going to have to make some extra tweaks here. So this will be Epping Fuel Freight. There we go. Let's purchase, for now, just one locomotive to run this line. Again, we're going to stick with the A35, so let's add that. Given the distance, do we want to make it a big train straight off the bat? I think that we do. So let's double head it straight away. We have enough money to spend. So that's 24 oil tankers or tank cars in the consist. As we can see, we maintain that good rating. It costs us 26 million, but that's fine. We have the money. Let's assign it, and then I really do think we're gonna have to find a way to rejig this line here, because as it stands, it's just not going to work. This train will be waiting for far too long, because it will just literally be picking up the scraps because I think these trains are also assigned to wait for a full load. Let's have a look. Yes, they are, although they only wait for 3 minutes. So for this second train to fill up, it's going to take an absolute eternity. So we're going to have to rework some of this. So what we'll do is we'll pause it. We'll just get rid of all of this for the time being, and then we'll see how we want to rebuild it. Okay, there we go. That's everything demolished. So the first thing we need is, well, we need another platform down here, don't we? Because we have a fuel train picking up for Long Eaton. We now have a train picking up for the town of Epping, so we need a spare platform for the fuel, the refined oil I should say, to actually be delivered into. So let's activate platform number 3 for that. So that's the first thing we're going to need. And then what we want to do is, let's join this line into that line there, like so. This will need a diamond. We're going to have to make this quite short because we're going to have to do something with this line to get it into here and then into here. So space is a bit of a premium. Yes, we could perhaps push this tunnel back a little bit, but let's see if we can manage it as it is. And we want this to come in 30 miles an hour. It's a little bit slow, but of course they are going to be coming to a stop in the station anyway. And we want to get that across there, and again it's going to be slow, but space is a bit tight. It does look nice enough though, so that's the main thing. And can we then get this to go into there? Yes, we can. And into there, yes. We'll need an access point into here. Yes, so let's do that. And in fact, let's double track it as well. There we go. Does that look okay? Not really. It's got a little bit of overlap there. Can we live with that? Yeah, I think we can. I'll change it between episodes, and this, well, that's even worse. Yeah, I'll redo these junctions between episodes just to keep them a little bit straighter. But for now, the trains aren't going to mind. They don't notice. We do, they don't. So that's fine. What we want to do is ensure, I think we should actually, yeah, we should be okay, because if we have our refined oil delivery train, as it will soon be, stop there, that will be its signal controlling its path into the station. We'll have the Long Eaton fuel train wait there. We don't need any signals on here. Nothing will be running up here for the time being. It's just there for completion's sake. But we will have one just there marshalling entry into the tunnel. And this train will come back out. Let's convert this to a double slip switch. This means the refined oil train can use this double slip switch to get onto this track and head up round here. Let's put a signal there. And I think that will do us. Right, so we have 2 trains here for Long Eaton. I think that will be enough. So this train, train number 3, we're going to repurpose this one for the new line we're about to set up. First of all, let's go to the Long Eaton fuel line. Let's manage the line. And no longer are you heading to Herne Bay. You're just heading in and out of there, which you can do. That complaint is train number 3, I believe. We can now tell them to wait for a full load, because if one train's on the platform, the second train will not block access for the refined oil getting in. And obviously the Epping trains aren't blocking, because they're on the opposite side of the station. So that's okay. We can keep that as it is. And then set up a new line that runs from the Herne Bay Oil Refinery. And it comes down into here. We want you on platform 3. You can do that, that's all good. Here you want a full load, and you want to wait as long as you need to achieve that. You're not picking anything up when you come back, so we'll just make sure you don't by selecting that option there. And this will be the long eaten refined oil line. Okay, this train is now going to be reassigned onto that new line, and it's also going to have a paint job to reflect its new status. We'll also duplicate that train so we have a good supply, a good strong supply of refined oil, keeping this refinery topped up as best we can. So let's duplicate that. There we go. Who's complaining? Train number 2. No, you shouldn't be. I think you just need to have a stop-go order. Let's start the game. I see. Hang on, let's just check this. Long Eaton Fuels, manage the line at the fuel refinery. Yeah, unload that. Yeah, that's fine. I think you just need a stop-go. Nope. Okay, let's just accelerate it so it can set off on its way, then we can always flip it. Hopefully it will drop off that oil and pick up the fuel, and once this train's dropped off its refined oil, we have the Flying Scotsman. Beautiful, we want that, we definitely want that. It might have to be another episode, but we definitely want that. Okay, before we do anything else, let's just now remove the unload order from the Long Eaton Fuel Refinery stop. And then you should be good. So you're now waiting for a full load. What we can also do for this line is have them wait. Oh, we've already done that. Okay. So here comes the first drop off of refined oil. We need to make sure we can keep this fully topped up. And look at that, it's almost advancing to level 4. It shouldn't take long. So you should maintain a good supply. Whether it's enough to feed 2 trains or not remains to be seen. We can always sell one of them if we have to. Here comes our huge refined oil train that is going to be serving Epping. You're good onto your platform. You might be waiting a while for a load, but that's okay. It'll take as long as it takes. So you're on your way back. I think 1 train is going to be enough, so I'm going to go ahead and sell this one before it gets to the platform. Yeah, I do think we're going to be okay with 1. We can always tweak it, maybe double head it and extend the consist if we have to. We need to make sure we get a... Oh, look at that, we've got plenty of refined oil here. So I think we're okay for the throughput, but we'll keep the 2 trains because they'll just continue to make money for us, and this will just store as much as it needs. Where's the train gone? Has he got a full load already? Did I not tell it? Oh, no, I didn't, did I? Okay, let's change that now, so it's second time around it will wait for a full load. That's okay, it can go off with a partial load for its first run. It gives things time to settle in, especially with these new lines that we've just either amended or set up. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's where we'll end proceedings for today. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. In the next one, we are going to look at the Flying Scotsman that we just unlocked as we ticked into 1925. If you'd like to come up with a name or suggest a name for the Flying Scotsman locomotives that are going to run the passenger line, go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. They won't appear in the next episode because the way I record is I tend to do maybe 2, 3, sometimes even 4 episodes almost back to back in one recording session. So comments on this one I might not necessarily see until I've recorded several episodes in the future, but what I will do is I'll change them as soon as I see the comments, and I'll leave a little comment in reply just letting you know what episode to look out for when the name change is going to take effect. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, all that remains for me to say is, as always, take very good care of yourselves. It's ta-ta for now.